Our next awardee is Lori Kahn. She's at Middle College High School in Durham, Technical Community College in Durham, North Carolina, and she teaches science in grades 11 and 12. Lori has served as science department chair and team leader at her school. Lori, you here? Okay, come on up. And has distinguished herself at the district level as a curriculum writer and a leader of numerous professional development sessions. Her science teaching style emphasizes connections among science disciplines with other curricula in the real world. Lori, we are honored to give you this Yager Award.
Thank you. I'm very honored to be here. It has been a process in the making. I'm Lori Kahn from Durham, North Carolina, and I am at a dual enrollment magnet called Middle College for 11th and 12th graders. But most of my 10 years teaching has been actually spent in 8th grade science. So working with 13 and 14-year-olds presents a challenge in large part due to the nature of the middle school student. So because I was competing for the attention of middle school drama, over time I needed to improve student engagement in the sciences and capture their attention. And so to do this, I started thinking about how can I, and 3 questions really came to mind, which was, how do you enhance science literacy in all learner types? How do you make science relevant to teenagers? And how do you develop young scientists? And that mostly came out of the fact that by middle school, most students have lost their inquisitive nature due to the confinements and the strengths of the structure of traditional school settings. And I wanted to bring back that how and why in that inquiry process to really get them to think like a scientist. So for me, the answer stemmed from my teaching and teaching through connections. And I looked at this in 5 main ways to teach through connections. And the first off was to set the stage. And by that I mean connecting with my students. And of course that means for all of us, it doesn't mean that every student is going to like you by any means. But it did mean building a working relationship with them. And once that was established through the protocols and procedures of my classroom, setting up a community of science learners in the classroom by connecting students with each other, because they are going to learn from each other more than they're going to learn from me. And then by asking and making it real for the students, because students always say, well, how is this relevant? And once they start to see that it is not an isolated class, an individual class that they're taking, but that it's related to the social studies and the language arts and to all the other aspects of math in their lives that they're used to, they can start to bridge those and make those connections, and students become more engaged in their classroom for it. So once they're kind of hooked, it's really asking the students questions. And by doing this, I use effective questioning techniques that phrase problems for students to answer and then not answering their questions. And of course, my advanced gifted, my AIG students absolutely hate this because they just want to know that answer, right? And I won't give it to them. So when they ask a question, I turn it back on them and ask them what do they think with it. And so at that point, because we've kind of connected students to each other, they can start to answer each other's question. Because really, middle school and high school students are going to take their friend's word over yours anyway. So use it to my advantage with it, right? And then keep questioning them. Once they have that hook and they ask a question, they begin to start generating their own ideas and their own questions, and asking them how and why really deepens their understanding of how all of these things are interconnected. And lastly, but not least, is the use of labs. It is by far the most relevant thing as scientists that we can do, is to get them understanding how the theoretical and what they learn in lecture and book is actually related to how they progress and what they are doing and showing. So using this as an interdisciplinary and getting all of the sciences connected was really key for me to show engagement within my classrooms and get students to move past just the rote memorization of an answer, but really look at things from a scientific point of view in the world so that they can become next citizens, making those voting decisions and generating those ideas and becoming science literate. So using this approach while setting those high expectations and standards has worked with all of my science classes from 7th grade to 12th grade to help grow those science literate students and make them more informed citizens. I want to thank you guys very much for having me here. I am very honored to be awarded this. Thank you.